The first time I went out to buy an investment property, I owned my personal home, and I went to my mom and I said, I'm buying another house. She completely did not understand the concept. She said to me, "Why are you buying a house? You already have a house."
My family was not supportive. They thought I was crazy. Why would I leave my job to try to figure out how to flip some houses? And I lost $1.4 million.
It's tough to teach people the power of likability.
I can give you 100 scripts. I have 100 scripts, right? For people from Wall Street to your mailman. But at the end of the day, just be a normal person, understand what you're doing, and then that'll be a good starting point for you to have these preliminary conversations.
I'm your host, Ehab Shukri, and I am so excited to have my guest here with me today. Have you ever wondered how people are finding the money to be able to invest in real estate deals? Or have you ever had a great deal that you just didn't have the money to invest to make it happen? Well, my guest here today, Amy Mahjoory, is an expert in helping people raise private money. And I'm super excited to have you here, Amy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. It's great to reconnect with you and do whatever I can to provide value.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'm sure you will. And I apologize if you see me writing things down, because I'm going to be taking notes, because I'll admit this is one area where I really could get a lot better at, is raising private money. So I'm super excited to hear about, all the great tips that you're going to share with us today. Yeah. Before we jump in, tell me a little bit about you. I know you're an HGTV celebrity. I was watching some of your videos on your website, but would love to know, how you got into real estate and even how you made it onto the HGTV show, because I think that's super cool.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it's funny because my background's very traditional, just like, many of us out there. I was raised to go to school and get good grades and go to college and then get a corporate job that I would stay at for the rest of my life, collecting that secure and stable paycheck. Well, that one corporate job ended up being with Dell Computers in Austin, Texas. It was actually the one and only job offer I got, so I had to accept it. And I was with them for 14 years, which I still cannot believe. I feel like that was like 9 lives ago. So, they were good to me, but I just did not care. For me, I'm all about like experiences in life and, working a corporate job with the false securities that come with a 9 to 5. I realized quickly that wasn't going to allow me to do the things I wanted to do. So 10 years ago, I actually ended up, I was an HGTV junkie and I wanted to just flip a couple of houses just as a side hustle, as a hobby, while I pursued what I thought was my dream job with Nike. And during that process, I'm very competitive, grew up playing competitive sports. And, even as a hobby, I wanted to do well. I wanted to, sure, maximize profits, but minimize mistakes and get to the finish line sooner than later. So I ended up investing in a coaching program. It was the very first coaching program I invested in 10 years ago, put 25 G's on a credit card, but I didn't care, because I was like, I knew I was committed and I was going to, make it happen. And so, they taught me everything from A to Z, hiring contractors, marketing for deals, building your team. But the one thing that has been missing from every coaching program, more than just a lesson or two, is really a broken down step-by-step detailed process on solving the money problem. And so that's what I do now. But, I started out in corporate America. I went through a coaching program and I was a good student, ended up having a tremendous amount of success and shortly thereafter, I quit my job at Dell and I've been a full-time real estate investor ever since.
That's amazing. Yeah. I did my fair share of coaching programs, one of them being a wholesaling coaching program, thinking that wholesaling was going to be the answer to all my problems. And I hated it. And of course, the next thing I did was join another wholesaling mentorship program because I thought maybe it was just the type of wholesaling they were teaching, but I hated it, twice as much. But yeah, I definitely have spent my money with coaching programs. And so that's great. Yeah. And you're right. Like, I have never been in a mentoring program where they spend the time that's needed to raise money. And it's such an important part of real estate investing that it's really surprising that that's not covered. So I think it's amazing that you talk about that.
Well, thank you. And that's also normal, right? That these other educators don't cover it because they're so focused on like their one thing, right? whether it's teaching how to flip or wholesale or creative financing. And that's fine, raising money. That's just like the one thing I'm really good at. I'm literally terrible at everything else. 30 minutes before our interview, I was bawling. I had to redo my makeup because I'm so stressed out about all these other things that I don't know how to do. So it's hard to find one platform that really teaches you every intricate detail of real estate investing from A to Z. And so, um, I love and respect everyone else. We all know we all know each other. We run in the same circle. I'm just really passionate about helping other investors solve the money problem without having to go to their friends and family members for money.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you know, my, I have a little experience raising private money. I raised $300,000 for a new construction project, and I did go to some friends to help me with that. And that's definitely a good source. But again, your friends only have so much money, so being able to have those conversations with people that are not your friends, and being able to build that trust with strangers. I'd love to know, kind of what your tips are for having those types of conversations and approaching people about raising money.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And man, I could go into this for like weeks. But just to kind of set the tone of some of the strategies I'll share with you. As you know, my background's Middle Eastern. And so for me, when I got into real estate investing 10 years ago, my family was not supportive. They thought I was crazy. Why would I leave my job with a reputable company like Dell Computers to try to figure out how to flip some houses? And they were, yeah, and they were scared. And aside from them not being supportive, they weren't financially in a position to like give me hundreds of thousands of dollars, nor were my friends. Still till this day, there's one friend still till this day. She's one of my best friends. She still will be like, Amy, does this really work? I'm like, girl, do you like see what I'm doing? Like, yes, it really does work. So I chose to be stubborn, which I'm still working on, and learn how to build, rapport and trust with complete strangers the minute I left my house. So, yeah, like where does this money come from and what do you say? Well, the first thing is mindset, right? So, for those of you listening and for any of you who are taking notes, like you really have to believe and understand um, why are you doing this, right? We have to come out with a strong foundation. What's in it for us? What's in it for the private money lenders? We have to know how to answer the hard questions. We have to know how to analyze deals. I'm not saying you have to have your team of experts in place and all that stuff, but really believing that when you're raising private money, you're providing others with an amazing opportunity to invest with you, right? Like they're not doing you a favor by lending you $100,000. You're doing them a favor by allowing them to invest with you, right? Because you're the one offering them double digit returns backed by real estate. Nobody gets it in the bank. They don't get in the stock market. They don't get it in crypto. I had this conversation with my cousin yesterday, actually, and she is an expert day trader. And so she does very well in the stock market. And so she tried to challenge me on, investing in real estate. And I said, you know what? Then you're not the private money lender for me. You're making more than 20% in the stock market. That's great. But look at how much you're working. Look at how much volatility there is. There's no security. There's no insurance. If you want to keep making 20%, busting your butt like that every day, then that's great. Like, don't invest with me or anybody else for that matter. But why not make 12% with a protected, secured, and insured asset? Right. So, number one is just mindset and just really believing in what you're doing and recognizing how we are helping others grow when they lend on our deals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I have people ask me as well, like, what's the right way to structure your deal, your private money loan? And I say to them, there is no right way, right? It's a conversation. And for some people who are making, 3 or 4% in the stock market, if you offer them 7, 8%, they think that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And for others, just as you mentioned, who have ways of making 20% return, then maybe the offer that you have is not for them. But I think it starts with a conversation, right? If you want to do it that way and have a win-win solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a great way to start the conversation and Ehab, you and I had a chance to speak briefly in Florida at the Bigger Pockets conference, and I know we're connected on social media, so I often talk about step 1 for the rest of your life. It's my 4-second power pitch, which is 13 words. So the 13 words is I show people how to earn double-digit returns backed by real estate. Now I'm going to share with you guys how you can use it in your everyday lifestyle. So first of all, remember, as real estate investors, the two things we want to focus on is finding and funding deals, right? So we never want to wait until we have a deal to start raising money, because raising money is rapport-based lending. So if you're going to raise money from a stranger, well, we got to get them into our circle. We got to educate them. We have to get to know them personally, professionally. That can take as little as, as little as 3 weeks. So when you leave your house, just remember mindset. Everyone you encounter is a prospective private money lender. So the next time you meet somebody new, or you're catching up with an old friend or family member, and they're like, "Oh, Ehab, how you been? What do you do for a living? Or what have you been up to?" You can say, "It's so great to meet you. I'm, let's say you're building a short-term rental portfolio. I'm building a short-term rental portfolio in Austin, Texas. And I show people how to earn double-digit returns backed by real estate. What do you do?" And you just put it back on them, right? Or for some of your listeners who are like brand new investors, you're not sure what you want to do yet, just skip the portfolio piece. You're just straight up, I show people how to earn double-digit returns backed by real estate. What do you do? It's so nice to meet you. And you're purposely dangling that carrot, right? Because they're going to want to know more. But that's step 1. That's the very first script you're going to use for the rest of your life.
Wow, I wasn't expecting you to share the secret sauce on the show, but I'm excited. I mean, I hope I need to write that down. I'm going to replay this podcast at least 10 times until I have that memorized. It definitely just rolls off your tongue, so you've probably said it 1,000 times. And I have checked out your website and some of the testimonials on there, and I see people talking about having those types of conversations or using that 4-second power pitch while playing golf with a friend or, at a social event, and they're able to secure, $1 million. I mean, it's powerful.
Yeah. And look, and it can sound um maybe not very authentic, or it sounds a little scripted, but this is why, like, we want to practice it, right? Put it into your own tone, into your own voice. And I tell people all the time, like, take your phone and record yourself saying these words, as weird as that sounds, so that it doesn't sound scripted. So it sounds natural. Our tone, our delivery is going to weigh heavily on how this message is received. But really all you're doing with my 4-second power pitch is you're just planting seeds. Like, everywhere you go, you're planting seeds, announcing to the world who you are and what you do. You're not asking for anything. You're not even talking about the next step yet.
Yeah, yeah. Just like finding real estate deals, you kind of put your feelers out there, and some of them will turn into great leads and great partnerships, and some of them may not. But to your point, hopefully people who are using the pitch really are passionate about what they're doing in real estate, right? Because you and I both know when you are able to get there at the higher levels, I mean, life is incredible when you're able to live life on your terms and do the things you love, and build a lifestyle for your family. So you don't have to practice being passionate. Just make sure you spend enough time learning about real estate, because this is the business to be passionate about.
Yeah, and if you're not, that's okay. This just may not be for you, either this industry or this strategy. Or if there are people out there who just want to flip 1 to 2 homes a year, or buy 1 to 2 turnkey rentals a year, that's fine. Like, don't go raise private money. You don't have to. But it's a fact that the only way to grow and scale our real estate business, if that's what you want to do, is by leveraging other people's money. So how do we get out there and build genuine relationships with people so that they trust us and they're willing to lend us their hard-earned dollars?
Yeah, yeah. No, so it sounds great, but just like with anything in real estate, there's always tough lessons as well that come with learning and doing things for the first time. What has been one of your biggest lessons learned, just through real estate or raising private money, and in your encounters with people?
Yeah, I have two. I'll start with the easy one. My very first lesson learned happened to be my very first, mistake, which was when I bought my first property in downtown Chicago. I structured it with hard money. And as you know, hard money will never lend 100%. So I needed to bring about $50,000 in gap funding, the difference, right, to the closing table. And I was drinking out of a fire hose. I had so much going on I was working my full-time corporate job, trying to start this real estate business. So I hadn't prioritized the power of raising private money. So I ended up putting my own money into the deal. I don't remember if the 50,000 I had came out of like a 401k loan that I took out, or if I had cash in the bank. I don't remember. So I took my own money and I put it into the deal. So here's why that was a mistake. 2 weeks into the renovation, my acquisitions manager, that's just a fancy word for realtor, you guys. My acquisitions manager brought me two turnkey rentals. The down payment for each one was $20,000. Well, guess what? I didn't have it because I put my own money into my flip, right? And so I had to respectfully pass on those opportunities. And each of them was already cash flowing $300. So look, is $600 a month going to retire us? No, but this is one example of one missed opportunity. So ever since that missed opportunity, I prioritized the power of private money. I've been using private money ever since. So that's like an easier one for maybe some of the newer real estate investors to relate to. The one that really resonates with me and takes me back to a very dark place in 2017 was when I lost $1.4 million. And I'm very transparent about this from stage. I'm very transparent about this on social media. I just talked about it with Bigger Pockets this morning, which is it was the perfect storm. I grew too fast in Chicago. I deviated from my standard process when it came to vetting general contractors. I bought too much too fast. And because I hired bad general contractors, there were project delays. And so now my holding cost, which is $10,000 a month for every property, I had 10 properties in the pipeline, had gone 6 months past our projected project completion date. So I'm spending $100,000 a month on just mortgage payments. So finally, all my properties hit the market at the same time. Other investors put their properties on the market at the same time. So I had to start price dropping, right? So it was like the perfect storm. All these things happened. They ended up losing 1.4 mil. And when people hear that, they're like, oh, well, that's just LLC money. No, it wasn't. I sold all my assets. I drained my retirement account. I put private money lenders on payment plans. Now, did I have to do this? No, I didn't. They made an investment. There were no guarantees. Some may argue, well, you signed a personal guarantee. Okay, fine. I had nothing more to give. Sue me. I have nothing left personally for you to take. So you really want to, so that sucked. Still till this day, it bothers me still till this day that maybe less than a handful of private money lenders only got back, 90% of their principal, which I'm sorry, that's still amazing. But it still bothers me, and I actually probably will pay them back. They don't even know this. But those were the two biggest lessons learned for me, which really helped shape and mold the future of my businesses.
Yeah. I mean, and then, that's the reality of real estate. The 300,000 I borrowed from friends for this new construction project. Well, we started the project right toward the beginning of COVID, and the city shut down. Permitting took forever. What normally took 2 months to get permits approved took us a year. And so, I've been holding on to their money for a long time, right? But I've also made sure that I promised to do right with them too. I'm gonna give them more of a return than I told them initially, so that they can really feel like their 3-year investment was worthwhile. And at the end of the day, that's the reality of real estate, right? But you do have to stay true to your word, so that, because your reputation is super important in the game.
Yeah. And, at the end of the day, those of you who are listening, like you just have to decide what are you willing to do? And you have to be okay with those results and consequences and just understand like contractually how to structure those deals and legally what the ramifications may be. And I don't say this to scare you. The reality is in real estate we're going to make money and we're going to lose money, but as long as the net is positive, right, then we're fine. And every one of these lessons learned makes us stronger. So it's a part of the process.
For sure, for sure. What about somebody who's new? Because I always get a little nervous for people who want to borrow their friends or mom or dad's money and they're new to real estate. And, there's certainly a higher risk when you don't know what you're doing. Like when's the right time to borrow private money? Should they have some experience? Should they do something different? Like what are your thoughts on that?
No, so you don't need experience. So you shouldn't be raising private money if you don't know what you're doing. Now, a brand new real estate investor, on my second deal, I was still brand new, like, right? But I I had a general contractor, the very first one, who knew what he was doing. I relied heavily, this is huge for you newbie investors out there, on my team of experts. My real estate attorney was one of the top real estate attorneys in Chicago who owned his own law firm. My architect, Laszlo, owned his own architectural firm. My designer, my stager, my realtor, they were all the entrepreneurs. So you don't have to be the expert, but bring together experts in your market who know what you're doing. But you, as the real estate investor, should absolutely know how to analyze a deal. If you don't know how to analyze a deal, don't even think about putting anyone's money into it. And it's not about risking other people's money and saving your money. It's about using our own money to build our passive income and using it as our vehicle to achieving financial freedom. And so I want to spend a minute to talk about this because a lot of people will be like, why don't you use your own money? Or I got to prove myself, or you want to risk my money and save your money? No. Whenever we have money of our own, we want to do one of two things with it. We want to go buy a rental property that's cash flowing, or we want to diversify and lend it to other credible real estate investors. I don't invest in the stock market. Everything I do, my husband as well, is diversified in the real estate world, putting it to commercial syndications, lending it onto single family homes, lending it, to other real estate investors, or just buying turnkey stuff, even mobile homes. And so it's not about protecting my money and putting yours at risk. It's about make an infinite return by leveraging other people's money so I can grow my passive income portfolio while still offering you double digit returns.
Yeah, you're really kind of bringing people along on the ride with you, and sharing that opportunity with them, just like you said. So I think that's great. And yeah, your team is so critical. Having the right general contractor, having the right lender, having the right coach who can teach you how to raise private money, right? All important people to have on your team to make sure that you're doing things the right way. Funny thing too, going back to the Middle Eastern thing, I'm Middle Eastern too. And I forgot to tell you, I remember the first time I went out to buy an investment property, I owned my personal home, and I went to my mom and I said, I'm buying another house. And she completely did not understand the concept. She said to me, why are you buying a house? You already have a house. She didn't understand the concept of somebody owning two houses. Right. I think that's so funny because my parents, super middle class, never invested in anything, not even the stock market, until much, much later in life. So, yeah, I didn't have that golden spoon either. So I thought that was a funny story. Um, I was watching a video that you were talking about where you were, you were essentially saying that there's no one size fits all solution for raising private money. There's really, you should tailor it based on kind of the need, right? Whether it's a kind of a rehab loan or a rental property. Share a little bit about, how people should understand or how to maybe structure their private money deals based on what they're trying to do.
Sure. And I just talked about this the other day. So I created like a little cheat sheet. I can even give it to you if you want to link it in this podcast. It's like a private money returns matrix. And so one of the biggest strategies out there, and this is a strategy I started in and I still live in because I love it, is just flipping, right? Flipping or new construction. So anytime you're flipping a house or building a brand new house, what I like and what I still do is I structure every single deal where my private money lender is in a debt position. They're not equity partners. I offer them a 12% annualized return with no monthly interest only payments. So they will get their principal plus interest at the end once I sell the renovated property in one lump sum. So that's a common one. Another common strategy, you touched on this earlier, Ehab, is wholesaling, right? So depending on where you live, and especially now things are becoming more um, controlled with wholesaling strategies and policies, is we have to double close. So when we double close, we actually take ownership of the property, even if it's for 30 seconds, right? So we have to raise the money to buy that property for 30 seconds. the cost of that capital, you can't offer a 12% annualized return. So what we do is we offer anywhere from 1 to 4 points of the loan amount. So that's transactional funding. So that's another strategy. Whether you hold the money for 30 seconds, 30 days, it doesn't matter. Another common one, this is where you'll want to talk to a securities attorney, is for syndications, multifamily syndications. If you're buying an apartment building, a shopping center, where you and your operator and your attorney will draft up a completely brand new set of loan docs and entity docs and determine what the return is going to be. That's a whole different process. So I cannot guide you there other than go talk to a securities attorney. A lot of people, myself included, will implement the Burr strategy. So I have a couple of property single family homes in Phoenix. We bought them, we fixed them up, and with private money. So we structured it as a flip. So we ended up buying it with private money, and then we did the cash out refi. And I took a big chunk of my private money lender's principal, paid down her balance, but there was still some of it left because we couldn't get it all out right during the cash out refi. So what I did was, me and my partners on these deals decided, all right, all the rental income that's coming in, it's going to go to my private money lender until she's paid in full. And then we'll start pocketing profits through the rental income moving forward once she's paid in full. So those are 4 examples of how you can structure deals. So yeah, so regardless of your deal, at a minimum, you want to make sure, of course, you're talking to a real estate attorney, and the documents we want to use to protect, secure, and ensure our investments are promissory notes, recorded mortgages, or the deed of trust, and then an insurance certificate. So those are just the bare bones, basics as far as documents are concerned. Sometimes you'll sign a personal guarantee. Other times you won't. If you're doing a syndication, you'll need a PPM. Again, talk to a SEC attorney about that. But that's just a gist of what you can do. Now, all that said, there is no right or wrong way on what to offer private money lenders. There is a right or a wrong way to structure the deals. If you want to bring in your PML in an equity position, you can. I'm going to tell you not to, because you don't need to give up that much equity. I have a greedy side too. But a lot of it's just the fear of the unknown. A lot of us have never raised private money. We think, our immediate go to our friends and family. So it's my job to show you guys how to get creative and think outside the box so that you have the confidence to get out there and raise money from people at airports, on airplanes, at church, at sporting events, bars, restaurants, to Uber drivers, at real estate events that we go to, right? So that you don't have to depend on your friends and family members for money.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So if somebody does have, a friend or a family or an acquaintance that wants to lend them money, does somebody just need a good, real estate attorney to prepare the docs, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah, I mean, first, before anyone ever gives you the yes, whether it's a friend or family member or not, you're always going to treat it like a business. So even though you may know the person, still treat it like a business. And you want to make sure you've done a very good job through a series of phone calls and Zooms, educating them on your target market, your buying criteria, your team of experts, your deal analyzer, what's in it for you, what's in it for them, the private money lender. You got to know how to answer the hard questions. What if the deal goes south? So on and so forth. You're going to have these conversations well before anyone ever says, here, Ehab, here's my $100,000. So when you get that verbal commitment and you have a deal, you're like, okay, great. So here's what I do with my private money lenders, and it does include an attorney. My job is to make my private money lender's job as easy as possible. I always tell people and my students, like, offer your private money lenders and let them know, oh, we have like a VIP Ritz-Carlton treatment for all of our private money lenders. We take care of our private money lenders. Even for my PMLs who have deep pockets, I will pay to fly them out to the property. This property is just as much yours as it is mine. Brag about it to your friends and family members. Like, post about it on social media. I'll fly you out, meet the team, take you to dinner. We can walk the property, so on and so forth. And so what I do also is I will fill out their loan docs on their behalf. And I say, hey, I'm going to fill out the loan docs for you to review and sign. Of course, if you want your own attorney to review them, absolutely no problem. Within reason, I will cover the cost of your attorney. Or if you have your own loan docs, because you've done this before, send them over. I'll look at them and, you know, they should work, but let's just make sure that we're speaking the same language. So that's how I handle it.
You handle it so so fluidly, and I can tell it's because you've done it a lot. And I think that's one of the things as a coach myself that it's tough to teach people is the power of likability, right? And making somebody feel comfortable, and being charismatic, right? And, a lot of that just kind of comes with practice. A lot of it comes from just being genuine as well, genuinely wanting them to feel comfortable with the deal, genuinely wanting to make it a win-win for both you and them so they can come along with you on the journey and share in your success. But I think that's great that it comes so naturally to you, and people might be listening saying, you say it so well and so easily, how are you able to do that? But I'm sure at one time it wasn't so easy, and with practice and of course the right coaching, I think people can definitely feel as comfortable and deliver the message well as you can probably do as well.
Well, thank you. And of course, and it's like, look, you guys, I can give you 100 scripts. I have 100 scripts, right? For people from Wall Street to your mailman. But at the end of the day, just be a normal person, understand what you're doing, right? And then that'll be a good starting point for you to have these preliminary conversations. And yes, the conversations will get more difficult. I'm currently having conversations right now with two very different types of brand new private money lenders. One who's extremely conservative, culturally, and he's very serious. He comes from the tech industry in California, appears to be very financially stable. And then the other one I'm talking to is a former executive coach. And so like you and I, Ehab, it's like we just start coaching each other. And then I'm like, wait, back to private money. Here's what's in it for you, more casual. My 4-year-old daughter gets into the Zoom where I would never do that with the other person, right? So we want to be able to also know how to like handle and navigate and manage these different types of personalities. There are going to be the bully private money lenders. So I'm going to tell you all day long, bye. Ain't nobody got time for that. Like you don't need their money that bad, right? So understand that everyone who invests with you, make it clear, you are a silent stakeholder. You don't have a say in the transformation process. You're not picking out finishes. You're not talking to my team. Once you invest with me, every month I will proactively send you a progress report with the good, the bad, the in between. So I over communicate. If I think, like, we have a project right now in San Diego where we may be like a month or two, which is normal, late on when we sell the property, but we still have like 8 months left to go. I'm already being like, hey, we're a month behind schedule, right? They're just going to trust and respect you more for that. When I took those losses back in 2017, I saw the losses coming 6 months in advance. I was already calling my private money lenders, crying, saying, we're going to lose. Here's what I'm doing to remedy the situation. So you got to over communicate and do it proactively.
Yeah, that's amazing. And your enthusiasm and passion about this just comes out, and I know you're passionate about real estate too. So, what have you done to really become so passionate about real estate investing? Is it your morning routine? Is it books that you recommend people read? Like how have you just turned into this person that is a real estate just machine now?
This is why I was crying 30 minutes ago. No, I don't have a morning routine. I need
Okay.
help. I literally just scheduled a therapy appointment. I don't have a morning routine. I don't work out consistently. I don't eat right. I don't read. I have a stack of books here. I do not read. I learn another way. My therapist helped me realize this. I learn in other ways. I learn through listening to podcasts. I learn through attending live events and conferences. The reason why I'm so passionate about this, two things. Number one is real estate has changed my life. I can literally do whatever I want, right? Within reason. I can do whatever I want, take as much time off as I want to. At the height of COVID, my husband and I really didn't work for 2 years, and we didn't have to change our lifestyle. We were living in La Jolla, California, in a house on a cliff overlooking the ocean, brand new baby. Because of investments we'd made in the past, this all starts with, and my coaches and mentors know this. It starts with them. We We owe everything to them. Because without my very first real estate coach 10 years ago, there's 0% chance I'd be where I am today. Right. So that's number one, why I'm so passionate about it, because it's changed my life. But number two is I'm just really good at raising money. I didn't know I was good at raising money. And no, it was never hard for me. It was just naturally instilled inside of me. The way I chat with you today is the way I was talking 10 years ago on my very first private money phone call with a random guy in California when I was living in Chicago who ended up investing in my deal. So we all have strengths and weaknesses, right? And so this is why I preach the power of private money. I am a product of coaching. And so I know how it can change your life. Private money is going to work for some people. Other people are going to be like, I want to go read 100 books and listen to 1,000 podcasts and figure out on my own. That's fine. Take 2 years to get to the finish line. But why when you can literally do it in 3 weeks? Right. So those are the two reasons I'm so passionate about real estate, but more importantly, the power of private money.
That's amazing. Yeah. I hear the audience shouting these two burning questions at me right now. And so, if somebody wants to get that 12% return, they want to invest with Amy, like how do they do that? And then as well, if somebody wants to learn how to raise private money from, the greatest private money person I've ever heard talk about it, how can somebody get into your coaching program?
Yeah, and thank you for that. So, to a fault, I am on Instagram way too much.
Yeah, you have a great
So,
Instagram too. Great,
thank
great free
you.
knowledge you're giving out every single day on Instagram.
Thank you. I do now have a team who helps me with that, but I'm always on there and I never ignore any direct message. So for those of you listening, you're going to have follow-up questions. Send me a direct message on Instagram. I just did it this morning. Somebody sent me a message and I recorded a video and shared it so everyone could learn
Oh,
from it.
wow.
So connect with me
Yeah.
on Instagram at Amy Mahjoory. If you want to learn more about me, my story, my background, some of the things I've done with the press and media, or even learn more about my coaching program, just go to amymahjoory.com and you can read more about it there.
Incredible, Amy. Wow. So thank you so much. If people listening didn't walk away with at least 10 golden nuggets, then watch the episode again, because you had a wealth of information. And I'm going to make sure I put your 4-second power pitch in the notes, because I want people to be able just to read that and rehearse that, because it just flows off your tongue so well. But I know I'm probably going to have to practice it every single day in my car to be able to say it that well. But
If
thank
you want, when I send you the link to my private money returns matrix, I can send you the script to my 4-second power pitch if you want to link it in your podcast for your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Well, Amy, thank you for being on the show. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Rehab with Ehab podcast. This was an amazing show. So many golden nuggets. And most importantly, take a look at your notes, figure out how to put them into action. If you want to learn more, reach out to Amy. But this has been one of those shows that has given you lots of great information on taking action. And it's something you definitely want to go back and rewatch. Thank you, Amy, for joining.
Thank you.